Okay, we are live. City of Scottsburg Code Enforcement Hearing Board, January 14th. We want to start with a call to order, confirmation of quorum. We have all three members currently present. Bob Babs, Troy Roth, Daryl Cyphers for the minutes. We also have Mayor Amick, myself, City Attorney Josh Digdon. We have Clerk Treasurer Jan Hardy, and we have Code Officer Brian Lonsberry. We are going to start this meeting by acknowledging that you all have been reappointed to this board. So congratulations. And I assume by being here is an acknowledgement of your desire or ability to continue serving. So,
and thank you. Thank you for serving. Thank
Yes.
you for serving. Absolutely.
thank you. And so the first thing at the first annual meeting each year we need to do, we need a president, vice president, and secretary. Those positions for 2025, Troy was our president, Daryl was vice, and Bob was secretary. So do we have any motions or nominations as regards to our?
Leave it the same.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? So it carries unanimously 3-0. Okay. Troy is present. If you want to run the meeting, you can go for it, or if you want me to keep on going down this little checklist, I can do it.
I'll let you go.
You can fill in any holes.
Huh?
You can fill in any holes.
Okay.
All right, let's, Brian,
I didn't get the email from you.
Okay.
Brian, if you want to take the floor there, you've got the screen on. If you want to give us
Yeah, I'll just go down,
update on what you've been up to.
touch base from our last meeting. I went over to the Scott County landfill, now that it's done, complete out there. I think it's a double or nothing road out there. We talked about taking tires, TVs, fridges, stuff like that. Spoke with them, because we talked about getting a flyer together. They're open 9 to 4:15, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. They will TV, fridge, air conditioner, $15 a piece. If you have a tire, they will take it for $3. If it's on the rim, $4. I went over to Scott County Tire, spoke with him. They charge $5 for a tire, and it's $15 if it's on the rim. So just do that.
Brian, is that something you could put together and some handout or whatever, and you could have on you or available in the maybe utility office if someone's asking about options?
Yeah, I usually kind of keep a little side note for somebody. If I stop and talk to somebody, I tell them.
Yeah, I'd like to see that for our own sanitation as well. Because we're only wanting to do certain things just for the citizens of Scottsburg.
Okay. So,
On that, how do we get out to the public that they're taking them out there and Scott County Tar taking for that price?
normally if I just talk to somebody, like if I show up, like the other day, a guy had I think it was a small air conditioner, and I just tell him, hey, they'll go out there and take it, because we don't take them at the city. Hey, they'll take them out here, and they usually just take them on, because they don't really know. So I don't know if it's best to come with a little flyer, a little handout, just kind of if I see you here, or if I leave a tag on your door, I can leave this with it. You know, hey, here's where you can go. So it could just be a small little.
We had a
big.
flyer made up and, I don't know, put in with the utility bill or available for him to pass out or have at the front desk.
That was my thought. Maybe get, and I don't want to overstep here, is Stacy maybe to.
And I think the utility bills can, the mayor would know that Stacy's under her department, but utility bills can add a little bleep on there. I think if we talk to Lauren,
Yeah, and so if we did something on the, like, Facebook website, hey, here's disposal options. So Stacy helps design up a little something, and then that hyperlink could be on the bills, and they could just click on it from there. So maybe try to,
I can get with Stacy.
Yeah, because most
Any-
people's under the consumption that you just can't get rid of.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone the other day about the landfill. They'll take recyclables, but they charge you. Is that so? For recyclables?
I have no
I have
idea.
no idea on that.
They've changed a lot of things. I mean, they've, you know, the city's putting in a scale because we're not charging by cubic yard anymore. We'll charge by pound because we pay by pound. And so, once we did that, they began doing that. Now, they have opened theirs up. We've had several things with IDIM that we've had to adjust. And so we're getting ready to open ours up here shortly. But we do need to make sure, I don't know, I have not been out there.
Well, this gentleman was telling me, he said, when did they start doing that? Said he used to take his recyclables out there and give them to him.
Yeah,
Of course, you can go to Lucas's there off the railroad street and he'll buy them from you, your recyclables. But
I know they do everything by weight out there. Now, as far as what they charge on the recyclables, I do not know. They have a scale, you come in and out.
the city has a recycled building and it's open 24/7. You just go in there and it has Gaylord boxes and you put your item in those, and we got pictures of it.
Yeah.
You know, so, obviously cardboard is probably our biggest, that's what people drop off.
Boxes.
And then we are taking those and getting rid of that.
So now Lucas is just, you're talking about is the old Baldwin's.
Baldwin's,
Yeah.
right, yeah, right.
Right, he's selling,
He is selling.
that's what he said.
Are they,
what, he's gonna sell out now?
do we know what we're gonna charge per pound on like our stuff, on our scale? I didn't know if we should maybe include that, hey, anticipation date is the city scale is gonna open up, and we're gonna charge so much per pound.
Yeah, I'll tell you that, what that is.
Maybe if we put it all together, just here's a Facebook page and a sheet, everybody. You can go 1, 2, 3 different places, here's what they charge.
Yeah, I'll kind of talk about that as well.
Yes.
So I've got a number in mind, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense to, as much as that information that you can have readily available, when you're meeting with someone and, you know, obviously they're not happy that they're probably not happy that they're being scolded, however you want to look at it. But if you can also provide the necessary information and expectation on what the cost is for them to get, the problem cured, I think is helpful.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get onto them if you can't solve the problem, tell them where to go.
Exactly.
You can't have it, but I can't tell you where to put it.
Yeah,
We
well,
need to be able to.
Yeah.
It do.
and we're starting from, I mean, this is a new, we're in infancy here.
Yeah.
So we're getting together and trying to figure out the best way to approach these issues, so.
And once we have that down, we'll put that on our website.
Okay.
So for sure.
Moving forward, I'd had on the 415 South Main Street with all the dogs there for missing, bring all the dogs. That house was sold on November 25th to another gentleman. I have a letter out to him to try and get in contact with him. I've tried to reach out to her. She's still there. The clothes are out on the line. Last time I was there about a month ago, I just went up to the front door, knock on the door. You can see all the animals are still. You can just look right through the window, the front door. They're right there in front of you. They're still there. I know I'd emailed Josh on that one to see. We talked about. I know we gave her a notice to vacate. Maybe hold off on that just because it's sold. And I'm trying to reach out to
Is
him.
it sold?
Yeah, it's sold. It's changed names in the GIS, and I did call the courthouse. It had sold. So it's been sold, like I said, since November 25th. I have a letter to him. I've checked over here if he had tried to change anything, get a hold of him. The address is in Sellersburg, so I got a letter out to him to see if I can make contact, like, is she moving out anytime soon? What's going on? You know, are you gonna let her live here and rent it? What are we doing with this? That was kind of the whole reason. Usually, I would assume that with, he bought it, he's probably given her, 90 days or something like that to vacate, But I went by there 3 or 4 different times, and I've knocked on the door, and she answered the door. The little car's there,
I see.
clothes are out on the line there, but she didn't answer the door.
I
Dogs.
know what's going on here.
Yeah. So I got a letter out to him, so see if I can, since he's the new owner of the property. We talked about Imperial Marble. We're over there. Is that Lovers Lane
Yes.
over there? There is a resident living up there. That is zoned industrial. I did get with Carmen about sending a letter out. I don't know. I think she had emailed you, Josh, on that one.
Mhm.
Because she sent it out. I don't know what's become of that, because she did say it was zoned industrial.
I'll check and see if we ever got a response and it's your understanding they're still living there or?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
the car's there. Yeah, she's still living there. Side updates here. I know we deal a lot with the Patton Reynolds. His wife, Lisa, had called me about a month ago, stated they think that he had some medical issues. So, and then right after that, I know his help got themselves in a little bit of trouble with the law. So that's another issue they were picked up, his 2 main guys. So, I know we deal a lot with the compact houses on the cleaning up. Lisa did call me and say she was working on it, but then I think it was a week later, the 2 main guys got arrested. So that may hinder a couple things.
Yep.
And I think one of them was, the main guy doesn't have a license. It's kind of hard to be a maintenance guy if you can't go from house to house. That kind of makes it difficult. We had a sewer leak at 171 High Street over by the old city hall. I got with the owner, I got with Tim Bruner at the county, and I got with Zeke, who's over our wastewater. We had somebody that did like a clean out, and they just left the top off of it, and it was just kind of coming out right beside the road and everything. I left that with Zeke and Tim Bruner. Tim is he works for the county. He does that. And then Zeke, if it wasn't taken care of, as of last week on Thursday, it had not been. Zeke had sent a letter and they were shut the water off. And then according to Tim, Bruner had asked that his understanding was if they don't clean it up, then the city would clean it up and we would just charge them. With like, I guess the big vacuum truck, it'd probably take 20 minutes with it, but we're not gonna do it for free.
Yeah, I mean, that's not
Yeah,
the process.
so, yeah, well, as soon as I was made aware, I was over there in 30 minutes with Zeke to make him aware. Cause I'm not on the wastewater stuff, how they handle that, but, I was over there within 30 minutes with Zeke to.
Yeah, and to be clear, I mean, that's more of I know the sewer department is aware of it. Donna Ennis that assists with that department is aware of it. The proper authorities were notified, and that's more of a sewer use ordinance situation instead of code enforcement. But it is being addressed.
Okay. Well, like I said, the lady had called me, so I bring in Zeke, who's over there.
Is there any occupancy there at all? You're saying no? You said no.
Yeah, it's a rental. There's a couple people still living there. Yes, they live upstairs. So I think they had 4 tenants at one time, and then there's just 2 upstairs now.
Gotcha.
So, let me see. 256. Oh, did you have a question?
Only living there with the water shut off.
It ain't been shut off yet.
Yeah.
It ain't been shut off. when I spoke with Zeke and followed up with him, he said that was kind of gonna be their next course of actions. To help stop that, you just shut the water off. So, and then as rentals, when they don't have no water, they start complaining pretty fast. So, 256 North Third Street, did have a camper that was kind of in front of the house. The lady had moved it for me. She had two, and she had it right up on the road, so we got that moved. She was real nice, got that taken care of. I know when I spoke with you, Mr. Mayor, on Slater Street about the vehicles, having so many, I had combed through twice now on the UDO. There's nothing in there about that as long as they're tagged. And there's nothing in there. I went through it. I even spoke with Carmen. There's nothing that says you can't have more than 2 or 3 vehicles there.
As long as they're tagged.
Yeah. And the gentleman did call me. He was supposed to be getting rid of 2 of the vehicles. I spoke with him. He called me. And then he said there was like 6 or 7 people living there at that house. It's him, his wife, his grandma, grandkids. He's got, I think, 2 daughters and a boyfriend, and they all drive. They all have vehicles.
We've had this happen before over at Spindlewick, where we had a grandfather dying, and there were always 10, 12 vehicles parked up in the yards, and everybody, this went on for probably almost a year. And so we have a similar thing, it seems like now on Slave Street. My concern is, I don't want them living there and then also running a mechanical shop.
Yeah, that gets into a different area of potential enforcement. But the other situation that you're speaking of on Spindlewick, so that is there are covenants to that subdivision, and that's usually one of the other things that comes into play. But those are private restrictions between property owners that we don't have the ability to enforce. So if someone's upset because a neighbor is violating their, restrictions and covenants, that's something that doesn't apply to us. We can't stand in their shoes and enforce those. The property owners would potentially have legal remedy, but not through us.
So I guess the question is, do we as Scottsburg need to have some type of ordinance that you can have only so many vehicles in your
I would be
On the road or-
concerned.
on the property?
Well, there's laws that you cannot impede the flow of traffic. So I would be concerned off the top of my head with constitutionality and issues with limiting the number of vehicles or anything along that, because you would be limiting the number of ability to own number of vehicles. Would be the argument, because if you own 4 and you can only have 3, where are you storing it? As long as it's not impeding the flow of traffic, if it's a public street with adequate room to park, then I think you have problems trying to enforce something.
Where he's talking about though, you have a driveway that has 4 vehicles in it. You have probably 2 vehicles, 3 vehicles on the road. You have vehicles on the sides of the house, and sometimes a little bit in the back. So and again, I asked Brian, I'm not so sure they're not working on these.
I asked him that. He is a mechanic. He did state, he goes, I have worked on the vehicles in the driveway. And he said, those are all our vehicles, though. Those are personal. He's not doing it for hire for anybody else. He goes, I'm changing oil. And he goes, I'm a mechanic by trade. He said, so somebody needs an oil change. He goes, I don't take it to the shop. He goes, I just do it myself.
They also have an old demo car over there, they demo.
Mm-hmm. Like a demo car. So I had tagged one of the Chevy Equinoxes, and he's supposed to be selling that one. And then he said there's another S10 out back that's being sold. So, and I'll go by there and follow up on those 2, but they weren't tagged or anything. So I have if things not tagged and mechanically operable, you can tag them as long as you can see them from the road. So, and he voluntarily gave me the S10 in the back. He goes, I know you didn't see it. He goes, it's there though. He goes, I'm just gonna tell you.
Yeah.
But the demo car in the ordinances, as long as it's set up for on a private racetrack, they can have a demo car, a race car.
But again, if the demo all beat up and crashed up and everything else like that, it looks junky. It's right on Highway 31. You know, so it's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, there's,
So I guess that would be up to council if they wanted to do something like that.
I mean, potentially, council will be the one to address an ordinance. I'm just saying from a legal standpoint, I think you've got obstacles to enforceability and.
Moving forward, let's see what else do I got. Let's see. I know, this will touch on this, we talked about goods there. I do know that George Lucas sold his property. It's got the White House right beside.
Really?
Yeah, he sold it to his daughter and his son-in-law. She called me the other day because across the street, that used to be the flower shop.
She sold that.
She sold that, I think, to Dave Church. I believe that's, she was complaining about some of the stuff. I guess they had torn down the greenhouse and some of the plastic was blowing over to that, I call it the gravel parking lot there that butts up to Goods. She had told me their plan is they're gonna remodel that White House and then they're going to try and build 3 or 4 small houses and they'll back right up to Goods.
Shotgun houses.
She had also told me that once they get going, she would like to see Goods cleaned up. So
Doesn't disagree.
I found this out.
I've had a few people ask me about the greenhouse. So do you know of anything as far as plan wise there?
No, no.
They bought it to flip it.
Okay, but I mean,
It's in terrible.
it's definitely not up to code at this point. I don't think there's any debate about that. Getting it in compliance with code or.
Yeah.
So.
Let me call Dave.
I've personally had people ask me about it, but they saw it change hands and wanting to know what was going to happen, and then always throwing in, it doesn't look the best.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Out of town are contacting me.
yeah, so I
Came in
think
that
it's, it's one of those that's been on our list, but, it's kind of at a time when it's operational, it's one thing, but if it's not operational and it's, yeah, I think getting an update would, why don't you maybe just have Brian do that?
Okay. Yeah.
Let him start that line of communication.
Dave's moved to Florida.
yeah, I already planned on reaching out to him. I'd already.
And just let him know if he doesn't already about the debris collecting on the neighbor's property and complaints that the city's receiving.
I'll just follow around on Highway 31, the road over Stacy. I know on the last meeting, you guys had the title searches. Have we got anything on that one?
Yeah, we've got some fee estimates now, so we're very rock and roll on that one.
And then we had touched base on the all-around towing, and I know you stated it was bankruptcy litigation and all that.
So we got a response from the attorney that represented the city on the litigation. The property, to be clear, the property is not. There is a contract buyer on that property that has a bankruptcy, and that is the wanted to make sure that we would not run afoul of anything there. Advices that we would not. And then we also, I think there's some payment issues that we're need to check with the trustees. So I'll get with Jan on that and see, because I don't think we've received any payments in quite some time. We should, but that's not an issue for this board. But just on an aside, we do have the I guess green light to proceed if need be on that from a code enforcement standpoint. The bankruptcy isn't prevent us from enforcing our code.
Is that the same entity that got the place out front, they own all that, or is that, it's a different one out front?
Different. It's a different, I believe, right? Yeah, there's two different situations.
What is it now?
Well, the place out front, right on the highway, it's got the trucks and everything.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
That's
the one.
the issue.
That's the one.
Yeah,
Yes.
the car, all around towing was behind that. That's not the issue. It's the
Right.
place up on the corner.
So basically, the one up on the corner, so that owner sold it on a contract for deed.
It is being sold on contract, yes.
And
And so his position is, I can't do nothing because selling it on contract, which is not exactly how that works, but
so would the city then litigate against that individual?
we're not talking about litigation. We were just talking about right at this point pursuing on our unsafe process against, for sure, the owner, which I have no issue. I knew we could do that. Since we are a claimant within the bankruptcy and we would be the party seeking the code enforcement, because those, I know as a city that just because a property is in bankruptcy does not prevent us from enforcing our code. My concern is that since we are also a lien holder, a creditor in the bankruptcy, does that create any issues? And been advised it does not, that we are fine to proceed.
Okay,
So that was the issue to go forward. And that just applies to the contract buyer, but yeah. And that's one that we've talked about, that times there'll be a new dumpster will arrive there. And then more stuff comes in. So,
It comes and
it's
goes.
a-
It comes and goes. It comes and goes. One day they're dropping stuff off and the next day they're picking it up. And you just never know. It changes day to day.
It's just when you think, hey, this is okay. And then
So what will it, so we'll go forward in this
go
process?
forward with unsafe.
I did work with, I reached out to Greg Prince on one of the county properties there by the sheriff's department. I think it's the old church there. Had the gutters just halfway hanging off the building, and they're probably 40, 50 foot long. They're just from the roof all the way down. I worked with Greg and he got the county to take them down for me. It took him a month, but he worked with me and he called me.
Great.
They got it done.
Excellent.
And then there behind, there's a Java station by the barber shop there. We've had some issues. I spoke with John Edrington. He called me yesterday where the dumpster was overflowing. And he's having some issues with people just dumping stuff there that are not his tenants. And they're just throwing trash all over the place. He did get it picked up. He called me yesterday and has his guy over there clean it up. And he filled the dumpster about half full. And then he said next week they're going to fill it again half full. Because if they take everything from the ground and put it in there, then it's completely full and the tenants don't have nowhere to go. He said so kind of half this week and half next week. But he had called me and I told him I would reach out to the chief of police and just ask them if they're around, kind of not if they see somebody over there. Because he said they're dumping all this stuff. And he goes, it was a lot of tea boxes. I goes, we don't sell tea. He goes, I don't know who it was coming from. He goes, they just piled that thing up and it just started falling all over the side. He goes, this isn't ours. But he goes, how do I stop them from?
Is this a metal 2 cubic yard dumpster?
It's a Rumpke dumpster. I don't know if it's,
dumpster.
I don't know what cubic yard. It's one of the big ones they drive in with the thing, one of the big dumpsters. And somebody, it's just out there in that parking lot. People just drive by and help
Are
themselves.
you talking about the alley behind the west side of
Yeah.
the square?
Yeah, we're
So
kind
he
of.
doesn't have a camera or anything on it, because obviously that'd be one way to.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's what I had told him to put a camera up and then if we see it, but I don't think he's got any yet, but he had talked about doing that.
Yeah. Just stay on, yeah, I mean, that's always, as we talk about each meeting, we want the progress and that's all we can ask for. So,
So, I mean, he
taking the
it
steps,
was nice and helpful. And on that note, he did come in and I spoke with Gene, he did come in and pay us mowing for
I think it was 2 mowing
2
fees.
mowing fees. He came
Paid
in and
them
paid
promptly.
that about a month ago or so. He come in and paid. So that's what
Excellent.
I have on updates. I didn't know if you had got anything together yet, Josh?
Well, that's what, on that's what I was going to provide. So my update is I want to apologize to you guys and Brian and to be ready to go for this year and be on top of this stuff and wanting to have, we'll talk about this here in a minute, but a consistent, so today, a consistent meeting schedule, but today, so you guys kind of have an idea. Redevelopment meets at 9 or 8:30, and then we've got code, or not code, this is code, Board of Works, 1:30, and then Water Board at 4. So this is basically one day a month that I'm here. So trying to, if this is a good consistent meeting date, that second Wednesday, 11 noon, something like that, using that as our meeting date for this calendar year. Is that
Kind of a playbook, we'll just,
absolutely? So
Yes.
when we need to do a notice order, whatever, we know we have, and we can go ahead and give to the city a list of all of our meeting dates for this year. Does this consistently work for you three?
Should,
good way to plan ahead, kind of know.
Gives me an idea.
Bob, you okay with that, buddy?
Second Wednesday.
Second Wednesday, 11 and 12.
Second Wednesday,
So that would be February 11th.
you're thinking around 11 o'clock?
I'm asking you guys. I'm good with 11. That gives us between the other meetings. I think that makes sense.
That's fine.
Mayor, if that,
Yes,
that
that's great,
should,
for sure.
So the next one, you got February 11th.
February 11th.
Gives us at least something to guide by.
And I'm going, before you take off, I'm going to get on your calendar on the forms and all of that and discuss how best to handle those and when you need me and communication and all that, so we're all on the same page. But because as we all know, we're freezing right now, but you know, someone was mentioning this morning, I think next week we go 50, 20, 60, 20, whatever. So point being, before we know it though, we're going to have knee-high grass. So we've got a couple months here of really good planning
Yes.
opportunities. One of the things that we did at the end of last year, I don't think it ended up resulting in anything new to the list, but the three of us, the mayor, Brian, and I drove around, you know, looking at different, just basically picked a quadrant and looking at properties and then, you know, communicating between, well, whether that's unsafe, what to do. And that resulted in Brian having a list and went out and basically just by communication with those property owners was able to get compliance out. Most of them, if not nearly all of them. So I thought that was helpful and maybe something that we consider doing at least quarterly this next year and just
Be great.
go through and work on our list and see where we're at